Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Ms. Richards, for being here today. I think it's down to you and I.
No kidding. Okay, we could do this somewhere else.
Can you tell me briefly about your background?
I'm a Texan.
Your professional background.
My professional background. Oh, shoot. I thought you wanted to go back to the beginning because I was born in Waco, which I'm very proud of. I was a labor organizer for many years with low-wage working women. I eventually had 3 kids, moved to Washington, D.C. I had the honor of working for Leader Pelosi for a period of time here on Capitol Hill. I've started a couple of nonprofits, and then about 10 years ago, I was hired to be the president of Planned Parenthood.
Do you have any accounting in your background, any finance in your background? Do you understand, I assume you understand well accounting?
I have taken accounting courses as part of my, fortunately my board has been very kind and offered me those kinds of, that kind of supplementary learning in my job. But I have obviously we have a chief financial officer, we have an entire accounting department at Planned Parenthood that I work with closely.
The reason I ask is in a former life, I was a public company CEO. So I know a fair amount about revenues, expenses, overhead, costs. So I'd like to talk a few minutes with you about that. What's your understanding of overhead?
Well,
what is overhead?
What is overhead?
Yes, what's overhead in Planned Parenthood? What are overhead expenses?
Generally, it's the cost of what things that just to keep the organization going. Is that what you're?
Salaries, building expenses, rent.
It really depends on. It depends on what you're talking about. If we're in a grant, it can be potentially overhead could be considered. It really just depends. But yes, of course, all organizations, I assume, and probably in the one you ran as well, we have an office, we have staff, we have electricity.
It must be considerable in a $500 million corporation or nonprofit. The overhead must be considerable. It has to be to run that big of an organization.
Well, I guess it depends on your definition of considerable, but yeah, we have a very dedicated staff, and we provide health care to a lot of people, education to a lot of people, and so, yes, it requires
do you profit or make money on abortion services?
So I think we've discussed this many times, and I'll just try to take it one more time. So I run the national office. We do not provide abortion services. We have provided to this committee, if you're on the committee, all of the financial information about the national organization, our audited financial statements, our 990s.
Your providers
and we've also
make money on abortion services? Your providers, do they make money? Your individual affiliated offices, do they make money providing abortions?
I think
in general.
In general, there is no general. I mean, we are a nonprofit. There's 3 sources of income. There are federal and public funds.
I'm talking about individual abortion. There are donations,
and there are.
If someone cannot afford to pay for, what's an abortion cost?
It depends, depending on the state.
What if someone can't pay for it?
Depending on the procedure. Excuse me?
What if someone can't pay for the abortion?
We raise private dollars to try to help women who cannot afford abortion services. If they choose that they want an abortion and they can't afford it, we try to raise money to help supplement the cost of an abortion.
Only through private donations. Do you make up the difference, is what you're saying?
Well, I don't, correct? But our 59 affiliates have a variety of what.
Does Planned Parenthood make a profit or make money on reimbursement of Medicaid services?
We don't make a profit on anything, but in terms of Medicaid.
Well, it depends on how you. Okay, you have 127 million.
Let's talk about
excess dollars.
Medicaid's very easy. Yeah, Medicaid's very easy. Medicaid reimburses, and as you know, across the country, Medicaid rates vary widely. In some states, they come closer to paying for the cost of the services. In a lot of states, we actually have to raise private donations to supplement what it costs for.
So you may make money on some Medicaid reimbursement services, correct?
I don't know that anyone does, but I'd be happy to find out.
And I'm sure you're well aware it's against federal law to use taxpayer funds for abortions, except for rape,
abundantly
incest,
clear on that, and
so
we're heavily regulated as HHS regulates.
Are you saying today with 100% surety that not one dime of taxpayer money is used to provide abortions?
What I said earlier.
I mean, yes or no? 100% surety?
No, because actually
that is against the law.
The federal law allows for federal dollars to pay for abortion services in very rare instances.
Correct.
Rape,
other than those
incest,
instances.
in the life of the mother. We don't use any federal dollars for any abortion services except for those that are
What about the profits generated
permitted
from
by
those federal
law.
dollars? Are any of those used to cover abortion services?
Sorry, we were kind of talking over yourself. You have to repeat it. I just didn't hear
The
you.
profits generated from taxpayer-funded sources such as Medicaid reimbursements, are any of those profits
I don't
used
believe-
to help cover the costs of abortions?
No. And I don't believe there, I will absolutely, we can go through all of our 990s, happy to go through with the committee, but I don't believe there are any profits from any Medicaid services in this country. As I've said, that's one of the issues we're addressing here is there are too few people willing to take Medicaid patients because often the Medicaid payments do not pay for the cost of birth control, a pap smear, a breast exam, and the like.
And what's critically important is how you apportion or apply the overhead services.
Sorry, the gentleman's
sorry,
time is
I yield
expired.
back.
Thank you.